Maegan,
What?
why are you so tired today?
I don't know.
Is it because you had a crazy weekend?
I mean, maybe.
Did you know? Well, we actually took a big van down to Las Vegas together this
We
weekend.
did, yeah.
What did we see?
Well, you guys saw the
Oh,
weekend.
you did. That's right. You didn't go to the concert. Oh, I was going to talk to you about the concert, but you didn't go.
Yeah.
Did you go to the? Because this was their second weekend concert. Did you go to the first one? You've
No,
never been to a
I've
weekend
never
concert?
been to a weekend concert.
I was just thinking about, it was in this giant, what do you call that? Theater arena in Las Vegas and full of people, like so many people. And just an immense production, right?
Yeah.
Like dancers that had to practice choreography, and somebody had to sew their costumes, and somebody had to build the giant woman figure in the middle of the stage. They had to set up the stage. They had like a giant screen, all kinds of lights moving along the edge of the platform. A light show kind of being projected down from below. There was video on the screen that somebody had to produce. There was, we were all wearing little bracelets that lit up, and that was all timed. So, like, I have no idea how much money it cost to produce this, or how many dozens and dozens and dozens of people involved in this production. Mom Googled, and it said something like he made $7 million from his
Wow.
performance. I don't know if that's his take home pay or whatever, but the scales of this kind of entertainment are just, the scale is beyond anything that I imagine myself dealing with in terms of the stress
Yeah.
and planning and collaboration. And it's really just on a giant scale, which frankly I'm a little bit envious of. I think, wow, that is huge. And also I think, could Amy and I ever survive being responsible for that much, that big of a project?
Yeah. That's
Um,
crazy.
and I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know the sacrifices, compromises, et cetera, that Abel Tesfaye, also known as the Weeknd, has undergone in his life. And he supposedly started from zero, right? Like, they call him the Weeknd because he went and was homeless. He left home one weekend, right?
Oh, really?
And he
I didn't
lived.
know
Where did
that.
he go to? Los Angeles, or?
No, I think he was in Toronto. I think he lived near Toronto, but I think he was homeless in Toronto, and I think he was living in like an abandoned house, which I think is the
Oh,
House
wow.
of Balloons, which was his first mixtape.
Brian says
Okay.
he lived in Toronto and he lived in an abandoned house in Toronto.
Are you gonna splice your audio in, Bri?
You could probably pick up. I think these both will.
You
pick
think
me up.
it's picking it up?
I'll be quiet, but I think you'll be able to hear me.
Okay. All that to say, and sometimes the stories grow. Like,
Yeah.
who knows? Uh, but maybe he was destitute and rose from nothing. All that to say, I am here with you, Maegan, critiquing self-help books, and my dream and comfort level and goal has not been to make something that gigantic. I'm much like I have settled into a life that is a little bit more comfortable for me.
Yeah.
So I can work on myself in terms of pushing outside my comfort zone, trying to reach for more. And actually reviewing these self-help books makes me think about that, and that I want to do some of those things. Not that I want to do what the Weekend is doing, but I think it's useful to do this exercise, even if it's a critical read, to just reconsider where we're at.
Yeah. I think that's a great exercise.
Have you had any experiences like that are kind of like,
Like where you feel like it's okay, wait, sorry. So like where you feel like you're at something that, or you see something that's maybe your dreams, but like so like on steroids kind of, and then you kind of think
yeah, just this is so much bigger. Like I could really,
like I could think so much bigger.
yeah.
Yeah. I have, and I think I need to do that more often, honestly, because I'm like you. I'm really inspired by seeing people who do maybe something that I'd like to do, but on such a big level, and it just makes me think, gosh, like I need to dream bigger, or I need to I need to let myself dream bigger or something. So I'm trying to think of a specific experience, but I love thinking about that. And
Do you go to the Parade of Homes? Did you
I
go to the Parade of
don't
Homes?
know, but I would love to go because I love looking at houses. And
Yeah, so I walked through just a couple of those. Amy, your mom also known as Amy, loves to do that
yeah,
every year. And so when I've gone into the last couple of years, I've gone to a couple houses that are kind of close to ours geographically. And then when I go in and I see like all of the light streaming in, and kind of, houses are more modern now than they were 20 years ago when our house was built.
yeah,
So when I walk into our house after having been in those other houses, I'm like, oh, it's kind of dark in here, and it's kind of, we don't have two kitchens or a sauna in our house. All of the
or a
houses
golf
that I saw had
simulator.
like, oh yeah, those are the new big things: golf simulators and saunas in the house. Are there anything else stick out to you as like all the new houses have these? Oh, you didn't go.
I didn't
Brian,
go,
how
but
about you? Brian's a tub connoisseur. He's like, I
which is so
love
weird
this
because he
tub. I
never
don't love
takes
this tub.
baths.
He rates the tubs.
It's so weird. I take baths every single week. I should be the one who rates the tubs.
What else do all the new houses have, Brian?
I'm disturbed by the amount of golf simulators in all the houses. I feel like I don't understand why every rich man wants a golf simulator.
He's
Ooh.
disturbed by golf simulators.
Some people love golf, and I haven't really gotten into it. But I am pretty good at mini golf, if I do say so myself. But another thing that some of them have is podcast rooms.
Oh yeah, you sent me a picture of that. Or Mom sent a picture.
So I think several of the houses had podcast studios in the house. And what was another thing that I saw? Somebody had a pottery room. I would totally go for a pottery
That's
room.
really cool.
Podcast studio.
I would love a podcast studio.
I would go for a golf simulator as long as it doubled as maybe a flight simulator or some other. Oh, maybe I could project like photographs of the night sky, hook it up to a sweet telescope.
That would be cool.
Anyway, there's a lot of new things in the new houses that are interesting, and again, they just make me think, am I thinking too small? But also, I don't really, like, I'm barely able to take care of the house that I do have, so I don't know. Anyway, all that to say, I hope we're well beyond the intro music by now. I have no idea how Bryan's going to edit this. But we are on chapter. Oh, maybe you could tell us who we are and what we're doing here, Maegan.
So I'm Maegan and my dad is Kirk, and we are doing the Self-Help Hangover podcast where we talk about self-help books and the good things and the downsides of the self-help book world. And we are starting chapter 1 of You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. And yeah, we just did the introduction in our last episode. So this episode will be going over chapters 1 and 2.
And we are doing this book again because, well, we started with Think and Grow Rich, which was kind of a foundational book for when I was growing up, learning about entrepreneurship. And then this book by Jen Sincero has been foundational for you, Maegan, right?
Yeah, it has.
So, again, she starts with a great quote. I love the quotes that she has. This one's by Jenny Holzer, who's an artist. You are a victim of the rules you live by.
Yeah, that's really great.
Now, the title of this chapter is My Subconscious Made Me Do It. We'll cover this and chapter 2 because these are very short chapters. But she starts by talking about what is the difference between conscious and subconscious mind. Do you have any thoughts about that, Maegan?
Yeah, so we talked about this a lot in our first book, Think and Grow Rich, but from my understanding, the subconscious mind is kind of like what our, what do you call it? Like our absorbed beliefs that we have, unconsciously. Oh, I can't talk, but like the thoughts that we kind of have, like our limiting beliefs, our beliefs about ourselves, how we perceive the world, kind of how we think but are unaware that we're thinking. And the conscious mind is like what we think about day to day, eating, like going to work. Like we think about it, but we're not as aware of the subconscious mind. And it kind of holds these deep thoughts that we have and have curated throughout the duration of our lives.
Yeah, I think that's a good synopsis. I have several quibbles about what her kind of assertions, what she claims is fact here. Should I get into those? I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to them. I think what I'd like to hear from you, Maegan, is are there things in your life where you realized that you had subconsciously come to a certain belief or idea that you then kind of needed to revisit or reframe or, switch out for a better thought?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like something I've realized that I think is that like whenever I meet people, they like think that I'm weird. That's like something that I just like automatically assume, and that's something that I kind of like talk about in therapy, and I try to like I'm trying to kind of like reprogram. That's like whenever I'm like I get insecure talking to people because I'm like, oh, they think I'm weird right now. And
have you figured out where that belief came from? Why did that
I mean, yeah,
take root
for
in
sure.
your...
Like, yeah, like I mean, I think like in high school people kind of thought I was weird, like, and so that's like a thing that I just deal with.
I am trying to imagine people meeting you in high school and thinking you're weird. That's crazy to me.
People like it just was like the case, like, and I know it was.
But you're so awesome.
Well, thank
You know what I'm saying? Even
Well, don't make me
your seminary
cry.
teacher was like, she's like a surfer dude. Doesn't everybody love surfer
Yeah, but
dudes?
that's not like a good thing, like necessarily. Like, yeah. So I
Hey,
just
growing up, surfer dudes were like what you
Were the
aspired
coolest thing.
to become.
well, thank you, but yeah, like that's just like something that I just like work through, like in my mind and in therapy. So
How did people show you that they thought you were weird in high school?
I mean, it's just like things that like I heard like were said about me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, whoops. Anyways, not to get too like deep with it, but that's just like something I've like always kind of like had since then. So,
So would you say that was also in your conscious mind?
yeah, it was. And now I think it's more like in my subconscious mind, I think, just because I mean, I haven't had evidence of people thinking I'm weird for like a long time, I guess, for decently long amount of time.
So this is kind of something that's moved to the back of your, like it's not something that you're thinking about consciously all the time, but you still have this kind of residual
Yeah.
belief or fear or...
Yeah, definitely. Like it's more in the back of my mind now. Like now it's just like when I talk to people, I'm like, oh, like what if they think I'm weird right now? And so sometimes I like get nervous talking to people because of that.
Interesting. So what kinds of things, maybe did I already ask this? What kinds of things do you do to counteract that now?
I mean, one thing like I kind of like talked about with my therapist is like just kind of thinking like you don't have any evidence that they think you're weird, and you don't like you have no evidence of that, and even if they are, like that's okay. Like you don't need to, and honestly, like you don't need to worry about that. Like if like worst case scenario they think you're weird, and like that's okay.
And that's on them.
Yeah.
Too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not your job to make sure that everybody thinks you're normal.
Yeah, it's true. It's not my job to make people like me or convince people that they need to like me. So,
well, it's at the beginning of this chapter, she tells a story about not knowing how to deal with conflict. Do you remember that?
when you start telling it, I'll remember.
She talks about going to get a mattress.
Oh, the mattress. Yeah, she goes. Yeah, this story. I was kind of like a little bit confused on the message here, but yeah, she.
I was confused also. You keep going because I'm
She's
interested
like-
in how you.
She's like, she
interpreted
talks
it.
about how she's like going mattress shopping, and the mattress salesman comes and lies down next to her on the bed while she's lying on the bed, and she's like, and then she's like thinking about how annoying this guy is, and everyone else's salesmen are being normal except for hers, and and she's afraid that he's gonna try to spoon her. And I don't really know.
And then somehow
what
it
the
becomes an
message-
issue of we come from a Puritan background and we didn't know how to confront people.
Yeah.
And then
it's
I'm like,
weird.
and then it's suddenly about conscious and subconscious mind.
See, this is what I was saying about like the filler. Like, I feel like sometimes she kind of just like like talks about random stuff.
Yes, I just felt like the connections, the connective tissue
Just
between
weren't
the
there.
yeah, it was a little bit tenuous. Anyway, okay, so let's quote from the book here for a second. The subconscious mind believes everything because it has no filter. It doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's not true.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've heard like this idea a lot about like what you think about your brain like just absorbs. Um, but I don't know. Like I don't really know if there's any scientific basis to that. I don't
Yeah, I
think
get what
there.
she's saying there, I think. I'm just trying to verbalize or just kind of understand what bothers me about that sentence. I just don't know that it just feels like a blanket statement that maybe isn't 100%
Yeah.
scientific or accurate.
Yeah.
I think the subconscious mind believes some things. It doesn't necessarily believe everything. I think it probably um, internalizes things that have emotional uh, consequences for us more than other things. Some of those are true, some of those may not be true.
I think it
So,
more so absorbs things when you're younger, because your mind is just more open and it's learning things and picking up on things. And I think when you're older, it's harder to unlearn those things that you've picked up on your entire life. And that's why it's like it's really hard. And that's kind of why you do the inner child work, is to try to go back and heal those things within you that you learned that you want to change.
yeah, exactly. I wrote down here learned behavior and environment. And I think what I was meaning by that when I wrote it down is that these things are not necessarily an issue of subconscious versus conscious. They are an issue of the waters that we're swimming in. Now, some of
Yeah.
those waters will seep into our subconscious and may remain for a long time. I think that's what she's getting at. I just think some of the assertions don't hold up in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, okay, so here's a couple bullet points. She says, one, our subconscious mind contains the blueprint for our lives. It's running the show based on the unfiltered information it gathered when we were kids, otherwise known as our beliefs. That's bullet point one. Any thoughts about that one?
Um, Not that I can think of.
I just wrote that I think beliefs are conscious as well as
Yeah,
they're not just
for sure.
subconscious. Bullet point two, we are for the most part completely oblivious to these subconscious beliefs that run our lives.
She said for the most part
Yeah.
we're oblivious. I think I could agree with that. I think, yeah, you kind of have to like think about, you kind of have to notice what beliefs you have about the world that maybe you picked up on.
I think a lot of there are many people who are much better and more practiced at not being oblivious to those than other people.
I agree
I
with
think
you.
therapy is a good tool to, somebody else, you've got an objective listener that's saying, oh, this may be how you're viewing things, or these may be some subconscious or conscious thoughts that may be limiting or
Yeah.
unhelpful for you. Okay, third bullet point. When our conscious minds finally develop and show up for work, no matter how big and smart and highfalutin they grow to be, they're still being controlled by the beliefs we're carrying around in our subconscious minds.
Let's see. Wait, sorry. Will you say that last line one more time?
Yeah. Um, Well, actually, let me just read the next few
Okay.
sentences and you can also respond to those. Our conscious mind thinks it's in control, but it isn't. Our subconscious mind doesn't think about anything, but is in control.
That's interesting. I'm not sure what to think about that. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that or not.
They feel fairly absolute, more than I
Yeah.
would be comfortable being. But she gets her point across.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm quoting from the book. Let's say you were raised by a father who was constantly struggling financially, who walked around kicking the furniture and grumbling about how money doesn't grow on trees, and who neglected you because he was always off trying and for the most part failing to make a living. Your subconscious took this in at face value and might have developed beliefs such as money equals struggle, money is unavailable, it's money's fault that I was abandoned by my father, money sucks and causes pain. Yeah. She has some other examples here. Conscious mind says, I long to find and marry my soulmate. Subconscious mind says, intimacy leads to pain and suffering. Finger says, ringless. It's not says, it's just colon. Conscious mind, colon, I want to lose 25 pounds. Subconscious mind, colon, people aren't safe. I must build a shield to protect myself. Body, colon, a fortress of flab. Yes, I've also read criticism of her for kind of
For
being a
body
little
shaming
yeah, some
or
body
something.
shaming.
Yeah.
The first key, I actually like this. I put a star by it because I like it. The first key to ridding yourself of limiting subconscious beliefs is to become aware of them.
Yeah.
Jen, I can agree with that. Yes, you got a great sentence in there in chapter 1. Yeah, I like
no,
that. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. You have to, the first step to changing a belief is realizing that you have that belief.
Well, whether subconscious or conscious.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, I guess if we don't realize we have that belief, it probably is subconscious at this point. Okay, let's go into chapter 2, the G word.
God.
That's right. Okay. Oh, so this is where I can't remember if I talked about this or not. No. Oh, okay. Do you remember what she said when she started talking about God? She compared it to her friends going to dance.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she says that when she kind of wasn't comfortable with the idea of God, and she compares it to when she started going square dancing, and she kind of would make fun of it at first, and then she started kind of joining them, and then she was really into it.
I'm just trying to figure out why they went to like a country dance bar with the attitude of this is lame and we're going to make fun of it. Maybe that's
it is bizarre. Yeah.
Maybe that's what you do. Maybe they were just looking as the closest place to get a drink or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe they were like, hey, let's go laugh at the Hicks. I don't know. It's just a strange beginning. But they went and they just kind of observed the dancers and initially were kind of making fun of them, and then they thought it was so funny that they joined in themselves.
And then they started coming back to that bar to do dancing like every week.
Yes. So it went from something that they were way too cool to participate in to something that they embraced participating in.
Yeah.
And that is how God is too.
Yeah. And she talks about how like she doesn't she doesn't call it God. She likes to refer to a higher power as like source energy or the universe. And I kind of can agree with that. Sometimes I go back and forth with this. Sometimes I call it like God, and sometimes I'm more like just call it like the universe.
Do you think, when you're thinking in God terms, do you picture the God that you learned about in church?
Sometimes like subconsciously, like it really is weird. Like it depends. Like if I'm saying a prayer, yeah, I do. Like which is kind of I don't know why I feel guilty about feeling that way, but I shouldn't. But like I picture like a guy like in a robe or something, but but then when I just like think about like but then when I'm like manifesting or something, I'm like, oh, it's like mother nature like around me and stuff, and it's energy like so it just changes like day to day, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we, I think you said a man in a robe, and I don't know where the precise origins of that are, but we can certainly see a man in a robe through, you know, Roman and Greek mythology,
Yeah.
Zeus, for example, and then through Christianity, um, a lot of the art, it has some of those kind of Greek classical elements in it.
Yeah.
And when I paint with classical elements too. I often depict God as a couple, a man and a woman,
Yeah.
in kind of classical garb. Sometimes I paint them in with he has a beard, and sometimes I paint them with darker skin. Sometimes I paint them with lighter skin. Sometimes I paint them with the colors of the creation around them. Um, so I've tried a lot of different ways that kind of symbolize God to me. But what Jen says is that self improvement, quote, that this whole improving your life thing is going to be a lot easier if you have an open mind about it, unquote, it being God. So self improvement is going to be way easier if you believe in God in some form. What do you think about that
I
idea?
mean, it's hard to say because, I mean, I know like there's successful people who are atheist and it's like they don't believe in anything, any higher power. So I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Like for me personally, like yeah, I find it helpful believing in a higher power. Like I feel like it helps me on a day-to-day basis. Um, but I mean, I wouldn't say that you have to find self-improvement or to find success in life.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. So, if, I mean, I don't know how we measure self improvement
Yeah.
in a large population, but atheists and agnostics do well financially if you list income by religion.
Oh, really? Interesting.
There are some religious groups that earn more than atheists and agnostics, according to, I just did a quick Google search for a few things. In the 2014 Pew survey showed that Jews, Hindus, Episcopals, and Presbyterians had higher income than atheists and agnostics, and then everybody else. So,
Huh.
like Mormons would be much further down on that list.
Really? That's so
And
interesting.
so I don't know what that tells us, other than if you were to measure self-improvement by income,
Yeah.
it's not like atheists are at the bottom
Are at the
of
bottom,
that
yeah.
list. And several surveys show that atheists are much more politically active than most religious groups.
Interesting.
So I think that shows an interest in not only self-improvement, but community improvement,
Yeah.
and an interest in human rights. So I think that's something to consider. But Jen, it has helped Jen, and I can appreciate that as well, right? Like I grew up quite religious, and I feel more empowered to make change in my life when I feel like there is a power outside of myself that is backing me, or able to give me help or strength beyond my own.
It does. That's how I
Right.
feel too, because I feel like it is just comforting to be like, to kind of feel like I don't have to do it alone, maybe. I have something higher than me that can maybe pick up the slack or like help me in
Yeah,
some
that's
way.
grace. That's the whole concept
Yeah.
of grace in Christian
Yeah.
theology.
Yeah. It's a comforting thought.
Yeah.
The way society thinks about family, love, and identity seems to be evolving faster than ever. In our hyper-connected world, these changes feel more urgent, and as we're seeing every day in the news, they're sparking backlash. I'm journalist Blair Hodges, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast journey called Relationscapes. I interview the best guides who can help us navigate the shifting terrain of relationships, exploring who we are and how we connect with each other.
We're breaking down the silence and the taboo.
Everyone's families can be recognized as valid.
When you step away from the norm, it's going to influence the way that people treat you.
It's creating empathy.
Given that I can't solve every problem, here's a couple of things that I do want to get involved in.
Our relationships aren't just personal, they're historical and cultural and political. And when we have a better map of all that territory, we won't just be reacting to all the change. We can actively help shape it. Join me on Relationscapes to find out how.
These are awesome questions, by the way. You're killing it. I'm like, this is like one of the best podcasts I've done.
Okay, so Jen says, if loving spirit is wrong, I don't want to be right. What are your
I
thoughts
don't know,
about that?
but-
Did you read that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
If loving spirit is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Yeah. That's just a funny thing to say.
Yeah, I think reveals a common human tendency, which is that we want to that we want to pursue feelings and feeling good over truth. Like if we want to believe a truth that makes us feel good,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's what she is laying bare in this sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, now she gets into vibrations. This is like taken right out of Napoleon Hill's book and plucked 90 years later into Jen Sincero's book. The universe is made up of source energy, which all energy vibrates at a certain frequency, which means you're vibrating at a certain frequency, and everything you desire and don't desire is also vibrating at a certain frequency. She says vibration attracts like vibration, otherwise known as the law of attraction.
Yeah. This is very familiar from Think and Grow Rich. And I kind of talked about this earlier, so I don't need to spend a ton of time on it, but I kind of agree with the fact, like, if you're vibrating at like a higher, like, vibrational thoughts, then I feel like personally that will attract good things into your life. But that's obviously not always the case. Who was it? Someone was telling me recently. It was my hair, my extension lady. She was lady. I shouldn't call her lady. She's 20. But she was telling me that she just went to Costa Rica, and they are all like so happy there, and they all live in just little shacks, not nice big homes. They all live excuse me. Anyways, and they're just all like so happy, and I think that's pretty cool. But that just goes to say, like, your happiness doesn't necessarily guarantee you riches or abundance. But I mean, I like to think that sometimes. I feel like I definitely had moments where like I will manifest something, or I'll like have positive thinking, and I feel like it benefits me. Maybe even if it's just in the way that like maybe I'm nicer to someone, and maybe that niceness passes on to someone else, and then eventually that comes back to me. I don't know. You hear about that happening, but I mean, you don't hear about it happening, but there's a video about it. But I've also had days where I'm like, man, I've really been working on my positive thinking, and I've just like I've been having a really crappy week. So, I mean, I don't think it's guaranteed, but like,
And maybe there are longer term effects than
yeah,
that week, right?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. Yeah.
I also think I agree that there is there is the law of attraction exists in some form. You know, I want to hang out with people that have similar interests, that are positive.
Yeah. And if you're giving off a good energy, then people who are probably like have that same energy, probably maybe successful people, will maybe want to hang out with you, or maybe someone is going to recommend you, talk you up to someone who maybe is going to give you a great job opportunity, or you're going to make connections with people that otherwise maybe wouldn't have happened.
Yes. And so so I don't know how much I don't know. I guess I just still have questions about this idea of vibrating at a higher frequency. Like, I'm not sure what that means in practical terms. And also, how do we just know that because we're feeling good? Like, I would say if I'm feeling good if I'm vibrating at a similar frequency, whatever that means, with the guy that's presenting a business opportunity to me or something. And
Sorry, go ahead.
and that's that you can get scammed. You can get scammed that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a podcast episode. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but there's one, No Stupid Questions, episode 179. Can you really manifest success through positive visualization? And I think that their conclusion was kind of yes, to an extent. Like, these can be helpful tools. And also, people who really embrace the idea of manifesting are also more susceptible to being conned or to being taken advantage of.
I could for sure see that.
So how do we reconcile that in our minds? Like, are these people not like how do the vibrations work when you're getting
I mean,
taken
I think
advantage of?
maybe it
you
goes
know?
back to like having your mind be too open and like being too open-minded and too trusting of everybody and not critical enough or skeptical enough.
Okay.
Like you have to have that balance of open-mindedness and skepticism.
And then use practical vetting mechanisms to figure out if it's a good opportunity for
Yeah,
you.
for sure. I was going to say, I also kind of find myself recently, at least, in this kind of mindset where I maybe am having like a bad day, or I'm not, or I'm sad, or I'm mad or something, or I'm tired, and then I'm like, I'm not thinking positively right now, so I'm manifesting bad things into my life.
Yes.
And it's kind of toxic, and then I have to kind of remind myself, like, it's okay to feel sad. Like it's fine. It's okay to feel things other than positivity all the time, because that's just toxic positivity.
I wrote that down on the next page. Were you thinking about that as you listened to the
I
chapter
was.
this time?
Yeah, I was.
Because she says, when you learn to consciously master the energetic realm, believe in the not yet seen, and stay in your highest frequency, you harness your innate power to create the reality you desire. I just think that this kind of approach, for some people, this kind of idea would be paralyzing, because they'd be like, I'm not in my highest frequency right now.
Yeah.
I got to get back there.
That is
as soon as
exactly
possible.
how I've been feeling. And I think that can be really toxic to some people, for sure. I was going to say, sorry, were you going to say
No, keep
more?
going. I'd love to hear how you have reframed this, or how have you adapted this? Because you're a manifester. You love this book by Jen, but you're also recognizing that kind of idea could not be good in some instances.
Yeah. So I just had to look it up again because I forgot the name of the book. I read it forever ago, but there's this book called Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Have you read that book?
No.
It's really good, but it's just, one of the things she kind of talks about is about like letting yourself feel all the feelings and how it's a part of the human experience, and like it's okay to just like feel things. And I find that super helpful, because it's just helpful to be like, yeah, like it's okay to like feel things other than happiness. Like that's being a human. And I don't need to feel so pressured to feel happy all the time. Like no one actually feels that way, even though it's easy to think that people feel that way oftentimes. So
Then how do people achieve great things if they sometimes think negatively? Is that possible?
It's like every artist ever. It's like once they get in like a healthy relationship and stop taking drugs, they don't make good music anymore. Just kidding. But like, it's like it comes from like the pain, like I feel like great art comes from like pain and emotion.
Do you think that applies to other like great inventors, physicians, like all these other realms that are not art or music?
I mean, maybe to an extent. I sometimes, like myself, I like go to those deep parts of me, like that make me so like sad and angry, and I'm like, I use that as like fuel or something. Like I'm like, I want to like achieve great things because of that.
So you're not
sometimes.
worried when you're in that state that your dreams are slipping away from you because you're not being positive.
Well, that's the thing. I was this month. I was worried about it. And that was something that I talked about in therapy because I was getting super paranoid, like, oh, I'm not being positive, and then I'm manifesting bad things for myself, like I need to get back, and then so I'm kind of like bringing myself back down, like that's not true. I know I'm saying a lot of stuff that probably doesn't make sense, but
So so I guess what I'm asking myself now then is, if our mood and attitude doesn't have to be positive all the time, then does this higher frequency thing mean anything?
honestly, in my opinion, I think you can be on a high frequency while still feeling the feelings. Like, I think you can ride the wave, and that doesn't mean you're in a low frequency. Like, I think it's all about how you manage yourself in a way that makes you happy, and you can feel the range of emotions, and I think you can kind of embrace that in a way and be like, yeah, I'm sad and that's okay, and like I'm gonna just ride this wave and like not. I think it's way worse to be like, I'm sad, I'm freaking out, I need to get out of this, like I need to be back to my positive thinking. That's just like, then you're trying to force that positivity. I think ride the lows and then ride the highs.
Okay. I think I see what you're saying. Yeah, so when I was reading this, I wrote down, I've been wondering if it's more about action and expectation than anything else. Why are so many jerks successful? I wrote down here. And then in the next page, she says, energy and action. The trick is to have both parts, energy and action, working in unison, which I really like. Now, energy is still, energy itself is not an ambiguous concept to me. The vibration thing still is a little bit. It's quite abstract for me. But energy and action working in unison, I think, is a great idea. I can really get behind that.
I'm sorry, I have to go back because I thought of something else I wanted to say.
Go for it.
But I just remember, I used to be obsessed with the book The Iliad by Homer.
What?
Yeah, I was. I really
Did you read it?
I read it. Yeah. What?
When?
When
Was
I
that
was
for
in
class?
college. Yeah, I read it in
in-
a class when I was at BYU, and I just loved it. And I remember there was this part, I think in the introduction of one of the chapters, where they talk about how the Greek gods were so jealous of the humans because humans are capable of feeling grief and suffering, and because they're able to feel that, they can feel so much happier in comparison to that. And the Greek gods could never feel any of those emotions, and so they didn't like the humans because of that. And I often think about that because it's just an interesting perspective to think of. That it's kind of an amazing thing that we can feel emotions like that. And so maybe that's kind of helps describe what I'm talking about when it's feeling the lows and the highs.
Yeah. Maegan, first of all, I totally missed that era when you were reading the Iliad.
Yeah.
And secondly, I totally get it. Yeah, it's sometimes when when I'm down, when I've suffered a setback or something, I have this I'm going to show you kind of attitude, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
That fuels my desire to achieve or to make great things happen.
Yeah.
And so when I'm in a positive mood, I'm working towards my goals, and when I'm in a negative mood, usually that fuels work towards my goals as well.
Yeah.
I can get in a space where I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I cannot work at all in this moment because there's just so much negativity.
Yeah, I for sure felt that.
But I think those are very infrequent moments that I try to get out of as quickly as I can. But I just have to read this because it goes along with what we were saying before, and I just don't think that this is a good way to conceptualize it. Quote, "Have you ever had a dream where you're flying and you're having such a blast, but then you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm flying. I can't fly. And then you come crashing back down to the ground and you can't get yourself back up again, no matter what you try? This is the way that beliefs work. Even if it seems impossible, you have to have faith anyway. And the second you stop believing, you pop the bubble and stop attracting the magic in your life."
Yeah, I don't really like that belief because that's just something that would make me spiral so much if I believed that, because I would just have to focus so much attention on losing the faith in fear of popping that bubble.
Yeah.
And so that's just not something I could subscribe to.
Yeah, you got to leave yourself room to coast through those seasons of disbelief.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But if you think, oh, I let my belief lapse, it's all over.
Yeah.
That's going to be more destructive than the disbelief itself.
For sure.
Okay, I'm glad we agree on that. All right, well that is, let's see. Here's a little quote at the end that I really love from Andre Gide, it's spelled like guide, Gide. Quote, "One does not discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time."
Yeah.
And love the last sentence of this chapter. "This is about your faith being greater than your fear." I can get behind that. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
You are, as Amy would say, you are a bad butt.
She doesn't swear.
So that's chapters 1 and 2. Any final thoughts about those chapters?
No, I think that was great.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for listening, everybody.
That's right. Yeah, check out our Patreon on the link tree in our Instagram bio.
Self-help hangover.
Message Maegan, or message that account, and Maegan will read your message if you have any questions or comments. And we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you.